Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good weekend. I know I did. It is the holiday weekend. You guys are going to be getting the Gold Hoarder episode. This is the community episode for the Keelhauled podcast. We're going to be talking about Season 5, and I wanted to give a little bit of preface into some of the stuff that I learned about last week, as well as an upcoming video that I'm hoping to get done this weekend so that I can tell you a little bit about some stuff that I found out in Tall Tale 4 from A Pirate's Life. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. But before we get into any of that, I have to give a special thank you to the community members who are supporting the podcast. You can head over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to show your support for the podcast. If you want to help make sure that my equipment gets upgraded when it needs to, make sure that the podcast hosting is taken care of. You guys do all of that, and it means the world to me. So thank you to Chateau Neuf, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Trickster, Jabaro5, Kazia the Rogue, Lumpy SRQ, Dub Goose, Evil Morpheus, Xbox Mike 29, Munchie, Registella, Rustbelt Kid, Tien Professor, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Super Pack, Fergatron, Neon, Rooski Doo, Skinny Matt, Straw Hat Connor, Thor Von Blitz, Windsor Chris, and Zamwell. Thank you all so much for your support and making sure that you help get the podcast out to everyone and enjoy the perks of such. Again, if you are in the proper captain's tier, then you can join in on these episodes. They're at the end of the month, unless it happens to be like this month where it landed on a holiday, and you can join in with the conversation. It doesn't always have to be the same folks, even though I appreciate the heck out of those folks coming in to talk about Sea of Thieves from their perspective. With that, let's get into it. Hey there, pirates. Just wanted to drop in a quick little message. I'm editing this in after the episode is done, but I wanted to give you a heads up that it looks like we are getting a Gold and Glory weekend coming December 31st at midnight for those in the UTC time zone, and going until January 3rd. So next weekend, over the Grogmanay, like New Year's Eve, all of that, it's going to be Gold and Glory weekend. So make sure you're planning accordingly and getting some folks in and not getting too smashed with grog to be able to go sailing, or maybe do so. Maybe that's more fun. Anyway, just want to let you know. So I did talk a little bit about some of the things that I discussed that I found out that I was talking about from last week's episode. Last week's episode, we covered the 48-hour stream with the orb and the discoveries from Flameheart Jr. A couple of the things that I did talk about that I didn't realize were actually thanks to the different communities out there, both mine as well as Golden Sands blog post and Captain Blubber. All of them were talking about some of the different things that were talked about with the Flameheart Jr., the metaphors and stuff like that. And one of them talked about in the belly of gold, where the ancient mask was traveling between worlds in the belly of the gold. Well, I didn't realize this at the time, because it had been so long since I'd actually gone out and done this. But the final Tall Tale in the original 9 Tall Tales that we got, where you go to the shores of gold, that cavern system that is down in there that leads you down into the Gold Hoarder's lair, that place is actually called the Belly of Gold. So when the tease came out from Flameheart Jr., and it talked about the ancient mask being found or traveling between worlds in the Belly of Gold, it's specifically talking about how this ancient relic is something that is being used, or at least being moved to and from, whether itself or by people using it to travel between different worlds. And I'm assuming these worlds mean the Sea of the Damned and the Sea of Thieves, possibly others, but they are actually things that are being held down in the belly of the gold at Tribute Peak. This really coincides with what we understand about Tribute Peak, where Tribute Peak is named such because of it being a tribute place for the gods of the ancients. Now, who those gods are is hard to say because we don't know much about them, but we do see the giant statues in their thrones on Tribute Peak, and we tend to think that that might be who the ancients' gods were. So given the nature of the mask, given the nature of the statues, it seems as though that Tribute Peak was a place where people would transcend, or where they would meet up with the gods during that time. We don't know how long ago this was, but we do know that magic plays a key part with there. And it kind of leans into some of the stuff that happens with Sea of Thieves. One thing is very clear about Sea of Thieves. The pirates in Sea of Thieves are learning magic through the ancients' knowledge. Things that are left behind we find, and through trial and error, I would imagine, we are learning how to utilize that magic for our own tasks, whether it be the Pendragon sword, the Sword of Souls, being used to release and seal souls into objects, whether it happen to be the dark relics that break down the barrier, that veil between the Sea of Thieves and the Sea of the Damned. All of these things, even Calypso being a god herself, allowing us to travel to and from the Sea of the Damned to visit memories of different pirates at different times, to try and uncover tools or people necessary to be able to stop Davy Jones. A lot of this magic comes from what we can assume are gods, and all of that seems to be trapped, or at least harnessed within certain relics, whether they be good relics or bad relics. As we've learned, the Shroud Breaker is a relic we have to use from the ancients. We have to charge it with different stones, and then those stones, once set in place of the Shroud Breaker and mounted to a ship, allows a ship to travel to and from places, going through the actual Devil's Shroud. So very much like the Mask of Ancients, the relic of the ancients, this feels like another one of those types of relics. It feels like another one of those objects that is going to be used to allow us to travel between worlds. I think one of the big questions now is, if Flameheart Jr. has found it, does that mean that he is in current possession of it? Is it still trapped in the tribute of or the Tribute Peak in the Shores of Gold? Is this something that we need to wrestle control away from other people to try and make sure that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands based on what we need to do? These are some of the questions that are kind of rolling around in my head now that we understand a little bit more about the Relic of the Ancients, what its power is, where it was found, and who might still be in control of it. Because if it is in the belly of gold, that worries me, because that is where the Gold Hoarder is currently, as far as we know. We've tried to defeat him a couple times, and he always seems to keep coming back. But I think because of the information that we've learned thanks to Flameheart, as well as some of the information that came to us from Tall Tales from A Pirate's Life, it's safe to assume that we want to try and find this relic soon, and for the better. I did mention this a little bit. There is a teaser or a video that I'm working on. I've got the script down. I got some stuff recorded today. I'm going to try and cut this all together for the weekend so that I can put it out alongside the podcast. But I've got some really interesting information that I came across and worked out with a couple of people to kind of figure out if I can put a little more certainty on who I think the captain is. With any luck, the video will get put out on time, and you guys won't have to wonder for too long who the captain is. And I'm really excited to talk about that there. But Pirates, that's going to do it for this little kind of section before you get into the actual story. I'm going to now pass you off to past self version of me, as well as the Gold Hoarders, as we talk about Season 5. All right, sounds good. Well, welcome to all the Gold Hoarders that are coming into this month's episode. If you're listening to this now, this is well after the recording, because currently the 25th would be when we normally would record, but being that is typically a day spent for family, friends, and others who just want to, celebrate the holiday, we're recording this early. So it's going to be a little weird right off the bat, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and you probably have already heard about this or seen about this in the last week's episode. But I figured because we're recording on the 18th, it makes sense for us to kind of speak purely to a list of stuff that you guys have brought up, as well as Season 5 in general. I am very curious to hear your guys' opinions on Season 5, just to kind of get a gauge on where you're at. But before we get into that, let's get through the introductions, let you guys know who's actually joining this episode. As always, it's the Gold Hoarders. So thank you. Welcome, El Jefe Esteban. How are you doing?
I am doing well, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Mina, welcome. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. Regis Stella, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just saw Spider-Man a few days ago, and I won't spoil anything.
Good. Awesome. I appreciate that because that's my date night tonight. Big Bad Pad, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to hear it. And as always, well, not always, but definitely a good guest to have on, Xbox Mike 29. Welcome. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So you guys came to meet, you talked a little bit beforehand and you came up with a list of things that you wanted to dive into. So thank you for getting into that. Just as kind of a general feeling, we're about 2 weeks into season 5. We're in the middle of Festival of Giving, and we won't get to check out Grog Monet until the end of the month. So I'm just curious, how's everyone feeling about this season? Are you guys liking this season? We got a lot of really big changes in with season 5. We've got cannon rowboats, fireworks sitting everywhere, burying stuff. Anyone have any experiences off the top of their head that they've really enjoyed that came in with season 5?
Getting a photo without Mina in it.
That was mean.
That's
Funny.
mean.
we went to Smuggler's Bay to go and get a photograph at the specific time. The spawn rates of the skeletons and the ocean crawlers were just not very kind.
Oh
Mina
no!
ended up dying about.
Somebody
30
somebody blunderbombed me off of the top of the cliff, and I died to fall damage.
Gee, I
Oh,
wonder who
wow.
that was.
And by the time I got, no, it wasn't Paddy. By the time I got off the ferry and back up to the top of that cliff, it was gone, and I still don't have that tick on my thing.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That sounds like someone needs to get Keelhauled, honestly. I haven't gotten
I
those.
think
So
I know who it was.
well, maybe after this, maybe you and I can sail out and we can go get it because I need to get it done as well too.
I need it too.
And
Free.
well, maybe we'll make a galleon of it, and the one thing we'll do is we'll just go sail over there and see if we can get that knocked out after this. So
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I really have just enjoyed the heck out of season 5. I think it's done a great job at giving us things to the world that don't necessarily have to be fought over for like a world event, or you're waiting for the next bit of things. I mean, have you guys been out there burying treasure much, or you guys been out there working on digging up treasure from other people? Like, how's that experience been for you guys?
I've buried treasure for the accommodations, and every time I log in, I look at them at the quest board, and almost always there are no player generated maps there. They're only the computer generated ones.
Really?
Almost always.
I've had that as well. I've noticed that.
Interesting. Okay, because I haven't had any problems finding any ones from people that have been burying stuff. I mean, I won't say that all the stuff is amazing. I've definitely gotten a couple duds here and there, but for the most part, I would say that there's at least a few maps every time I log in to be able to go pick up other people's stuff. Have you guys been burying anything, creating any of those maps?
Yeah, I've found that every time I've logged back in, somebody has dug up at least one of my maps, because you get that pop up on the screen that says obviously you've been awarded renowned because somebody's dug it up. It's like every time I've logged in, somebody has dug it up. Mainly because I tend to put maps on the board that have got more than 5 items on them. I don't bother doing like 1s and 2s.
Oh, that's really cool.
It might be trash that's buried, but there's definitely more than 5 things on there.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah, I've been trying to go out and do other people's voyages as much as possible to help them with those commendations, so they aren't getting the least amount of stuff. But the thing that I've actually, and I'm probably an outlier on this, but I've actually had a lot of fun going out, picking people's voyages that they've done, digging up all their stuff, and then sailing over to Reaper's hideout. And then what I'll do is I'll throw up the Reaper's mark, the old OG one, and just kind of, leave my ship there, grab a rowboat, sail over, work on someone else's map, and then wait for someone to come over and grab my stuff, sink my ship if they really want to. Like, I'll throw up a level 1 Reaper on there, just to kind of entice them with the flag, and let them turn in that loot so that I can get that treasure stuff knocked out, get that 5,000 a day for the stuff, because most of the stuff that people are bearing isn't very valuable, and getting the 5,000 for it is a lot better for me. So that's kind of been my go-to plan for a lot of this season's event and stuff. Have you guys been working on the season 5 Festival of Giving? Is that something you're actively working towards, or is that kind of just like, it's there and it's not really interesting?
Just
good
organically
period of-
happen.
Mike, what were you saying?
Sorry. Yeah, I actually spent a good period of time sailing around, accumulating quite a lot of treasure, all on my own, and thought somebody at some point is going to have to come and take this off me and, cash it all in. And I chased one ship. Well, not chased. I waited as he passed and asked him to come and take this loot off me and cash it in, and he sailed away. And as I chased him, he scuttled his ship, dropped all of his loot. So then I thought, well, I'll take that. And then I sailed around a bit more, and I found another ship, and I pulled alongside of it at Plunder Valley it was. And pulled alongside, and I'm shouting, please come and take this stuff off me. And they scuttled as well.
Oh my god.
So I ended up going to the Reapers and just cashing it all in. And then just as I was cashing in the last few items, some French people sailed in and crashed into me and killed me and cashed the last 2 things in.
That's
And
so
all
funny.
I could say to them was, where were you about 10, 15 minutes ago?
Right?
So, well, either you win some, you lose some. So
That's interesting, because I had the same experience where I got a bunch of treasure. I, parked my ship out. There were 2 Reapers fighting at Reaper's Hideout, and I thought, surely the victor is going to come over and take my ship. And I waited for 2 hours. The Kraken spawned on my ship, which was a real pain in the butt, because I'm sitting there like, I was out by Shipwreck Bay, and I was just chilling, sitting on a rock, like waiting to watch the whole event unfold. Them come over, sink my ship, take the treasure, go back, sail it. No, had a Kraken spawn on it. So then I had to grab my cannon rowboat and sail over, or row over, and kill the Kraken. And I lost my ship, and I had to go gather all of my loot, throw it on a rowboat, and then go get my ship and bring it back. So it's surprising. It's hit and miss with the event so far. Anyone had any weird stories trying to give loot away?
That's just
I don't.
That's just
I
wrong.
don't.
Giving stuff away is just wrong.
Well, I don't remember seeing anybody to give stuff away to recently. Really.
Has it been empty for you most of the time?
Well, the last time we sailed, we had a ship rock up on us while we hadn't even decorated the ship, and that was interesting. But obviously, we had nothing to sell, so it wouldn't have helped.
Oh man. Yeah, at least let people get out of the dock and get some stuff before you go sinking them. Unless maybe they were trying to turn in. I don't know. It's hard to say.
No, they had a Reaper sloop chasing after them.
Oh, weird.
So we had 2 ships attack us at the dock.
That story took a really different turn than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Oh, that's so weird. All right. Well, let's get into the list of things going on. I'm surprised no one's talked about fireworks. Is that just not like a thing anyone's really gotten much use out of? You guys not used money?
I've used a few fireworks and they're really, really pretty.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah, that's the one thing. So that's the one thing I will say is that they are very well done, very beautiful to do, especially if you're on a galleon and you've got all 4 of the cannons going at the same time.
Yeah.
They are very good. So everything that's come in this update has been enjoyable to do, whether it be laboriously burying treasures, but then that adds, you can also then bury a keg next to it, so it's actually you're actually burying a bomb. The fireworks, the sitting, all of it is just adding to the addition, or adding stuff to what is already there.
Yeah, you bring up something that I forgot that I wanted to talk about, because the mechanics behind the kegs being buried don't work the way that I was hoping they would. I was hoping if you buried multiple kegs and you dug one up, if that keg did blow up, then it would blow up all of the other kegs around it, and that doesn't work. And you can't blunder bomb the area around either to set off any of the kegs. Like the kegs, once they're buried, it seems like they are taken out of the game, and the ID tag for what that item is registered until you dig it up and it appears again. But I'm kind of bummed that it's not an intuitive experience on what you would expect. Like the expected outcome of throwing a blunder bomb on a keg around a bunch of other buried kegs doesn't create this minefield. I was kind of bummed out by that, because I was hoping to do what you're talking about. You know, you got a whole bunch of kegs, you bury them, and then in the middle you bury one keg and one really nice item, and you just, you kind of hang out and wait for someone to come find it and blow it up and watch the fun. But it just doesn't happen that way. I was kind of sad to see that be the case.
No, the other thing is with the kegs is that if you do dig one up, literally just do the one dig, you can then do a one dig bury, and it puts it out and buries it again. And again, like you say, it locks it away as it's still there, but it's not lit anymore.
Yeah.
Skellies would bury it as well. So if you dig something up and the skellies pop up, if you bury it again, they all crawl back into the sand.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
We did that on the Thieves Haven run.
Yeah.
Somebody, I think it was Hefe, dug up a gem. Skellies came up with a mega cake. He buried the gem again, and it went away.
Yeah. And then you just dig it back up again, and most of the time they don't come back.
Yep, that's what happens.
What a weird interaction. I hadn't seen that before. That's so strange. Well, I guess that's, if you don't want to deal with the mega keg, that's definitely a good way to go about it. How you guys liking the ammo pouches? Because I really love them. I'm not gonna lie.
Very helpful during For the Damned.
Yeah, they're in general they're great. I wish that they would change the color of the shine on them, because it gets in the way of loot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so I'm not alone on that. That's good to know.
No.
Yeah, you're not alone, Logan.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the hues right now? Because I've been feeling frustrated every time you sail by like those barrels of plenty, and you see like a couple glimmers, and one's a blue and one's a green, and you're like, okay, well, is it a skull or is it a Disney stick? Like, has that been bugging anyone else?
Yeah, definitely.
You're the only one.
Pad, you're colorblind, right?
Yeah.
Does it?
As is Mina.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but basically, if it's a blue, then we tend to jump in after it, because it's either, like you say, it's either going to be a blue gem or it's a bottle for one of the treasuries or shrines.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely need a different color for the Disney sticks and stuff that isn't loot to hand in.
Yeah, I would definitely like that. Has anyone tested? Because I know there's been some weird interactions with the flags, and being able to bury those and then dig it back up and it becomes yours. Has anyone played around with the Disney sticks? Like, do those, because it's just an ID tag that gets associated with the bury, if you bury like a half used one and you dig it back up, does it come out half used?
You can't bury a Disney stick.
Oh,
I was about to say I
really?
No, you can't, because it's not a sellable item. You can't bury it.
Oh, that's right. I
don't think that's the reason, because you cannot sell storage crates, but you can still bury them.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I do wish that the Disney sticks would not shine green, because it's pointless.
Yeah, you kind of think it was like, oh, green gem. No, it's a Disney stick.
Yeah. Well, I like this kind of feedback, because I feel like sometimes I'm alone with these things and I don't know how other people feel. So I'm glad that we got that. I feel like that's a majority of the stuff that came in with season 5. I've been really loving this update. I would be okay if we got every other month or every other season an update like this. Like, I don't mind having a big lore dump and then having a nice, good kind of regressive add stuff to the base game to add more features and stuff like that. There's plenty of secondary actions for a lot of the other equipment that we don't have, that I would love to have that. I'd love for them to have time and opportunity to add new instruments or new shanties and things like that. So I wanted to jump into the little bit of notes that you guys came up with. First off, commendations. You guys said, can we have a way to identify if they're individual, crew, or alliance based? Does anyone want to jump on to kind of expand a little bit on what you were looking to have Rare do for that? Like, what would be an idea that you guys would do to be able to tell which one's which?
Or I've seen something. I think it was in retail. I don't think it was in Insiders, but I'm sure they've had something in the past that identified so that it was like one pirate on their own for an individual task, 2 or 3 pirates together that would then be crew based, and then I don't know, a flag for alliance based.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
So that looking at your commendation list, you go, right, I'm in a crew of 4 people, right, we can do this, this, and this. We haven't got an alliance, so I can't do that one just yet.
I like that. Like, you mean like kind of how they have the time limited indicator on a lot of items, especially in the Emporium nowadays, where it's a little corner is kind of sectioned off for things that are time limited, something like that, or like full on section dedicated to just stuff that's individual. Break it down that way.
I think that's probably going a little bit too far into it. Just have a little icon on the corner, like they do in the Emporium for obviously the pricing of the items.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a little icon in the corner that is literally a pirate, 3 or 4 pirates, or a flag, so that you know that it's one of 3 things to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I would love to have, because very much like the fireworks thing, understanding that that's a individual thing really comes down to trial and error. And it's one of those little bits of kind of quality of life features that I would love to see come to the game. So I really like that idea. I support it a lot. Moving into the next one, it says, can we have quote unquote stop added to the chat wheel? Now, I know this was something that I brought up on Twitter, but what were your guys' use cases for this?
To be perfectly honest, I've been compiling this list since the last obviously episode, so I can't remember who actually suggested it, but it wasn't just stop. Is there a way, can we have a list of things that we could add to the wheel? A bit like the emote wheels, we can actually put our own chat from an official fair list rather than obviously trying to make our own.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Anyone else have some words that you've wanted to have on there that obviously family friendly words, but words that you'd like to use to communicate with other people?
Oh, there's probably some unfriendly words you'd like to add as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe some references to other games like "get over here" or something like that.
Or no TDM, thank you.
Yes. That way I don't have to go get my pet that says TDM says go away.
It's funny. I can't remember, were we sailing together or was I with another crew when we had allianced with a sloop, and then the sloop just kind of hung around with us and followed us for a while and just...
That was...
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Fight me. Sounded like Caleb.
He's not even here to fight against that, which is great.
Yeah, but the lad was shouting, battle me or something. It's like, no,
yeah,
we don't want. Go and be your sloop.
Go away. Me and I love that.
In the speaking trumpet, so it's shouty.
Yeah. It's even better. I will say that I hate how some things are relegated just to the speaking trumpet. So I'll sit there and I'll be trying to tell someone something in pirate chat, because generally when I do use that, it's because I'm out on the couch, I'm playing on the TV in the living room, and I don't have my headset on because I don't want to have to communicate with anyone, and I just want to experience the world. And with that, situation where I do have to use it, I really hate having to think like, okay, is this on the first wheel? Is this on the more wheel? Is this on the item wheel? Is this on the speaking trumpet wheel? Like, there's so many different ways to communicate with people. And I love the idea of adding custom ones that are available through like the emote system, very much like how I'd love to have equipment available to reorder and sort, so that if I don't want to use X item frequently, then I can swap that out for something that I do that may be on the second radio. And is there a way that we just need to have things relegated more to one common chat wheel, or are we okay with having some things relegated to the speaking trumpet, some things relegated to items, some things like, how is the UI navigation for you guys when it comes to using pirate chat? Is it getting too dense, or is it okay?
It's a bit like the events tab. You have to go so far in to find anything.
Yeah.
That I would prefer having it on one set of wheels, essentially. So yeah, have it on my left bumper, so that I could then scroll through the wheels rather than having to get my speaking trumpet out to say, "Do you want to be an alliance or whatever? We're friendly," and then kick them. But yeah, I'd rather have it in one place and then just dive down in through that one place rather than having it across, like you say, 3 or 4 different things.
That's kind of my main issue. Say you wanted to talk to someone, you have to use a speaking trumpet and then you have to use the radio for that. But then, like I was trying to get someone to take stuff off me using chat radio. And the easiest thing I could do was using or holding an item after I told them, I said, I need help. And then I would have to pick up an item and then I would have to go to the chat radio and say, take this off me. And there's like some mental gymnastics that you have to jump or do to be able to navigate. How do you communicate well enough with other people using the pirate chat? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But with it being something as simple as just the word stop, I think can be used so much in trying to get someone to you can tell someone, come over here or help me with this, or I'm taking this, but we don't have anyone or anything to actually tell people just to say stop. And it's such a weird thing that I think is overlooked.
I do think with a bunch of those radio wheels that it's very much feels like Inception sometimes. It's like you got to go 15 layers deep to find what you're looking for, and by the time you find it, the moment has passed.
Yeah, that too, definitely. Like the amount of time it takes to try and find the right thing to say, more often than not, it's sometimes too late. So moving into the next item, you guys brought up can music. You say now that we have the can song, or the Infernal Gallop, I think is what it's technically called for people that don't know the correlation between it. You guys want the emote. I'm surprised that this was something that went missing on season 5. Do you think this is going to come to the game, or do you think that this is just something that they didn't like? Did they just not have time to be able to put this in? Because it does seem like a weird negligence.
I was just thinking, isn't the shovel dance that we've got kind of like the can?
That's a really good question. I don't have a way to look that up right now, but I do wonder.
It's a very kicky dance.
I like that description. It would be nice. I can definitely check on it later, because with the recording, it's grabbing all my audio, and I know if I boot up Sea of Thieves, it'll be pulled right into the audio, so I won't have a way to check it out. But I am curious to see if that is the case, because if that is, would that suffice, or do you want like an emote where you're kind of having hands on shoulders kicking in unison, kind of the can line?
Group emote.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. I know that they've got it in Destiny 2, because you can do the cowbell, and I think there's a couple of dance moves as well that you can do together. So I know that it's possible to put in games, but I don't know how easy it would be to put it into this game. But yes, that would be ideal to have, like you say, a group emote that's 2 or 3 pirates, so you can actually have them arm in arm doing the can.
I'm trying to find out real quick, see if I can Google it to see what engine Destiny 2 runs on, because I feel like it's running on Unreal, which if that's the case, I mean, man, like that would be nice if it's something that's easily picked up through Unreal Engine, because at least we know, Sea of Thieves runs on Unreal 2, or no, excuse me, Unreal 4, but I don't know what game engine it actually operates off of, and nothing I'm looking up actually states that, which is awesome. Thank you, Reddit, for constantly being worthless. Ahoy there, pirates. This is the ad for this episode, and I did want to let you know, if you wanted to avoid these and just get a regular filler, you can head over to the Patreon. There's a special feed just for patrons that get the ad-free version. If you want to keep listening, though, I can't say I blame you, because this week I want to let you know about Loot Crate and getting 15% off of most crates and crate subscriptions when you use the link and code RobotsRadio in the show notes. Also, you can head over to audiobooks.com, get your first 3 audiobooks for free, and that can include any 2 VIP books, or use the affiliate link for Green Man Gaming. If you're a PC gamer or you'd like to save money on games, it's one of the benefits of being a PC gamer. Head over to Green Man Gaming. You can get codes for Steam, Epic, any of the different stores that they have deals going on. They have deals going on all the time, and if you plan on buying there, please consider using our affiliate link. All of that goes straight to me through the network. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to support this podcast. It means the world to me, and I continue to try and improve the quality and the content for you. With that, pirates, let's get back to the show. So
just going back, can I just go back to partly towards what we were saying before about the amount of different lines of text that we've got and the way that you have to find them.
Yeah.
The emotes is a similar thing where there's also a lot of different emotes that you've got. And I can't believe that this isn't a thing, but I've always wanted the ability to, you can change the buttons in the settings and you can change pretty much everything, but you're not able to assign a hold button. So you can change the pirate chat from just press, but you can't change the one, pressing up on the D-pad for say. You can't change the one that holds the D-pad up. And I just feel like that's a missed opportunity to be able to add different things into there, change things around a bit and free up some of the emotes, put the emotes on a hold maybe, and then be able to have up, down, left and right as a quick switch between fire bombs and food and shovel and compass, say.
So let me, am I understanding this? Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So are you talking about like when you go to do an emote, you have to hold down the keypad that actually correlates with it? Like for me, it's the up on D-pad. And so I have to hold that down and then I have to navigate that menu whilst holding it down. You're talking about hitting it once to enter into the emote and then using the D-pad then to select what thing you want to do?
Maybe. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I was on about. Yeah, just some options for the hold, being able to hold and change what it does when you hold the button. Because if you change the pirate emote thing, I think it still has to be held on whatever button you assign it to, but you can't assign anything else to hold. It's just those emotes and pirate talk that you can change. You can't seem to change anything else to hold and do something else.
I am curious.
Another set of options that we could have had.
So are you talking about like being able to change emotes while still doing another emote?
No, just being able to change what the button does. But emote's part of it. Able to change, maybe have a different set assigned to the hold and then another set assigned to the press.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just making sure I try and have what you're talking about right. I would have to do some research, but are you not able to make it so that if you press the emote section, it stays open, like you have to hold it open, right?
I think so, yeah.
I know at least I do, but I can't say that I've gone into the accessibility settings, because that seems like a thing that they would have, like a reduce to hold option for being able to get into the emote section. Like if you imagine if someone has trouble holding buttons down for a long period of time, to be able to navigate the menus, all 4 or 5 emote radials to be able to select the right emote that they want. Holding down that button, it seems like that would have been something that would have been put at least into the accessibility so that you can just tap it and enter into that emote radial. Am I crazy, or does that seem that's got to be in there, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying it now. I'm literally on the game just here now as I'm just trying to do what I'm trying to say. And what I thought I'd do is assign the lantern to say down on the D-pad, and it'll let you change that. Yeah. But it then removes the ability to press and hold and bring up the pirate chat or bring up the emotes. You can't press and hold anymore. You can only just press and get the lantern. You can't press and hold and then bring up the menu for the pirate chat as well.
So you want like secondary actions to button presses. So like if you just quickly tap it, you'll pull up your lantern, But if you were to hold it down, it would open up the emote section or the pirate chat section.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that would be great because I've changed where my jump is. My jump is on my R3. So whenever I hit the back paddle or I hit the right stick down, then I'll jump. So at that point, A has been my food button, and that way, if I'm in the heat of battle, instead of trying to relegate a D-pad, I can move, even if I can't necessarily change the camera direction. I can still kind of run away or move backwards or something, and hold or hit the A button to be able to pull up food and jump at the same time when I'm using the camera. So that's kind of how I shifted things. It's the J Pizzle layout that I've learned from him. But yeah, to have a quick access and then have like a press and hold would actually be kind of nice. I do wonder. The trouble is always like, how complex do you get the buttons? Like, because there's the argument of having the shift feature with the Elite Series controllers, where you can assign one of the back pedals to a shift function, where you can shift press a button to get more actions out of stuff. And I always wonder, like, how deep do you go when it comes to trying to make the controls accessible to anyone? Mina, you had something that you posted in chat.
Yeah, if they were to change it so that you could have one item as a press and then something else as a hold on the same thing, would that not remove their ability to have the accessibility option where you just press to access, for example, the emotes?
Yes, that would, if you double assigned it. Because if they add an accessibility option that is just tap as opposed to hold, if you replace that tap with like another item or another function, then that would probably negate the accessibility of not having to hold down the button. Mike, can you think of a workaround for that, or is that are we getting too deep into the weeds?
I think we're getting into the deep in the reeds now, aren't we? But I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, God, that's it. This is why there's experts working on this kind of stuff for UI design and whatnot. But I think we can all kind of agree that it feels like Sea Thieves is maybe getting a little too, I guess convoluted might be the word, with some of the UI designs. And I would love to see some shoring up of some of the menus, some of the features and stuff, just to kind of keep things a little more simple sometimes, as I say that they need to add more. Let's see, going into the next item, you guys brought up Old Faithful. Now, you guys generally don't bring up Old Faithful. So I'm kind of wondering, why are you guys bringing in Old Faithful? Because most of you guys want to nuke the island the way I want to nuke Crooked Masts. And I personally have no problems with Old Faithful. I think it's a fine island. But you guys think there's something missing with it?
It wasn't, in fact, we were just talking in general about islands and what we'd like added to them. And Space Album Laws came up with the fact that you have this island called Old Faithful, and there isn't a geyser. I'm going to say geyser because that's how I say it, but geyser, water spout, whatever you want to say. There isn't one on it, and it's like, well, yeah, fair point. They're probably reserved for the Raw, but I can see where he was coming from. And that also then obviously goes down to the Smuggler's Bay point. It needs a dock of some sort to sit on, because then Otis Redding would be so proud. It doesn't matter. Put a dock anywhere there, because Otis Redding would be so proud of us sitting on the dock of the bay.
I mean, that's an achievement. That just writes itself, that achievement, doesn't it?
It really does.
Just put a dock in the bay itself.
That's great. So I was always kind of... I don't know, because I'm of two minds. I wouldn't mind a dock, but I don't know if I'd want it in the bay. As much as I love that island, I kind of like the Blue Lagoon style of shallow waters in that safe area in that bay. I don't know if I love your idea of putting a dock in the bay. Mina, you have thoughts. Come on. What do you want?
The bay there isn't that shallow. A little discreet dock off to the side. It doesn't have to be in the middle screaming, "I'm here, sit on me." Just a little one off to the side would be fine.
I think I'd rather have like a lowerable chain that came across that blocked people in.
A
You're an
gate?
evil man.
Like a lowering gate in the bay?
I've been sailing with you for too long, probably now. I think that's what it is.
I think that would be hilarious if you could
I think that'd be
block
good.
off.
Just a drop chain that blocked them off. I think that'd be brilliant.
Ooh, man, I like the
Then
idea
again,
of that.
nobody would ever go inside there, though, would they? You know.
Yeah.
There'd have to be something to entice them in, though. Something that you have to get the boat in for.
Like, you mean 5 or 6 buried treasures literally at the straight in through the entrance and straight in front of you at the beach?
Well, okay. What if it was a defensible fort? Like not like a skeleton fort, but it had cannons and they built up a wall, and you could.
There is a cannon already there that fires into the bay.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what if they built up around that? What if because there was oh gosh, back in the Unity prototypes, there were images of Smuggler's Bay, and Smuggler's Bay had a cannon or a fort tower up on the top portion of that island. Like that island was intended to be a fort at one time. So I mean, what if you did build in like a gate that would close off the bay area, and they built defensible walls around there and added more cannons? Like that would kind of be like oh gosh, what's that place called in Pirates of the Caribbean where they all go to have the meeting of the pirate lords? Anyone remember?
Tortuga?
No.
No, it wasn't Tortuga. I can't remember what it was. Shipwreck Bay? Did they call it Shipwreck Bay?
Shipwreck Cove, I think.
Shipwreck Cove.
Cove, yes. Yeah, like why can't Smuggler's Bay become a Shipwreck Cove of Sea of Thieves? How do you guys feel about that?
I'd be down.
I think I'll be down, but I think more like Libertalia has to get all the space to build one. The Shores of Gold, I mean, Shores of Gold. Sorry.
Shores of Gold would be a good one to do it on. That'd be fun. And
yeah,
obviously they would have to come up with a really good lore reason for everything, and they'd probably want to build a tall tale around it or a world event around it. But I kind of just love that idea of Smuggler's Bay becoming more of a reason to go venture out there outside of it just being really cool.
Yeah.
So the fact that Old Faithful doesn't have a geyser on it doesn't make sense. I'm with you on that. I think it'd be funny if they put a geyser on there and they had a little plaque on it that just said "thing that erupts" or something quirky. They've got good humor over there. Let's see. Moving into, so we took care of Smuggler's Bay. You guys are talking about having different colors on player generated maps versus server generated maps. Can you not tell what maps are what when you get them? Like, does it not tell you what maps are whose?
I mean, you have to look at the names, and you have to like kind of suss out, is this a computer generated name or is this actually somebody's gamer tag?
Gotcha.
So it would just be because there's always going to be maps there regardless whether they're player generated or computer generated, because there's always going to be something available.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would be nice to, when you're looking for the player generated ones, just a different shade of color. I mean, it could be even something slightly off from what the other ones are, because they've already kind of got the regions colored out, which is fine. Which is that's understandable. But I think it would behoove them, especially since there's so many accommodations attached around this stuff, that we could be able to easily identify real person generated maps versus system generated.
What if they how do you like the idea of them putting like a specific color border or a specific border around the ones that are generated by people, so that it's kind of blocked off from the rest of them, and then you make it those worth a little bit more? Like I'm always kind of curious about the idea of what if they take those and then some of the player ones are really good, but you can decide like, I want this to be a hardcore treasure, so the value of the stuff I bury in turn kind of affects the AI elements that will spawn on it when I go to dig it up. Because I think it would be great if we had like easy, hard, make difficulty a feature with these maps, and that way the more valuable stuff you bury, the harder it is to get it out of the ground based on stuff you do. But to kind of speak to what you're saying, how do you feel about the border?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be fine. I mean, just anything to kind of differentiate, at a glance, that we know that, okay, that's real person made that.
Yeah.
Versus not.
Yeah, I definitely like that idea. I think it would be great to see players kind of spotlighted on that quest board.
I was thinking more of a separate tab, like you got your your server generated maps, and then you got your player generated maps in a different tab.
I think both of those are good ideas, to be honest. I think that,
Yeah.
I think I'd be down for a separate tab as well, though. I think that would be just to keep it completely separate. The only way at the moment
One tab for server generated, the other tab for user generated.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. But the moment, unless it says, I Death Killer 63, I on it, and that you go, yeah, that's not a
Or
captain.
Gray Sheets Niece, then yeah.
Yeah, when it's it's some obvious gamer tag, then unless it's like that, you know it's the only way you can tell. And there's not many people
True.
not many people with like sort of normal, well written out gamer tags. They're usually a series of numbers and sort of commas, not commas because you don't use them, but you know what I mean.
Speaking of,
look like that, don't they? So unless it's like that, you can't really tell. So.
Big Bad Pad X, any comment on Mike's statements?
I was just going to say that any sort of indication that it is a player map would be better than no indication whatsoever. For instance, if you were to load up yourself and put in some maps onto there, unless I know you because you are Captain Logan, that to me could be either or. And right, yes, if I put a map up there, it's pretty certain that it's a player generated map. But there are so many people out there that play Sea of Thieves that have got sea related names that could be mistaken for computer generated.
Yeah, I definitely see what you mean. And to be fair, I don't know if mine pops up as mine all the time or if mine can pop up as my skeleton captain either. So there may be Captain Logan ones out there that are computer generated but still have my name and I just haven't seen it yet. So I'm kind of in a weird situation. But yeah, I like the idea of being able to break out easily what's player generated, what's computer generated, and be able to have a way to focus in on the ones that people have actually put out there since they want that renown and they want that reputation. Trying to think if there's speaking of missions, you guys brought up bottle missions. Anyone want to tackle why you guys wanted to bring in bottle missions to the discussion?
I'll start. I probably won't finish. When we sail, we tend to sail for longer periods of time. So we can be on the seas for anywhere between 2 and 4 hours, 5 hours, depending on what day it is. If after 4 hours you've got 3 or 4 wheels of missions to go through, because I have a tendency to pick up any bottle missions I find, there's no way of getting rid of them unless you physically go and dig them, solve them, or wait for them to time out.
Yeah.
So can we either put them up on the board as a computer generated map but get rid of it, or have the option to delete it from our wheels?
Yeah.
I feel like this has been something that we've been talking about.
It's not the first time and it's not the last time, but it just...
Yeah. I don't understand why they wouldn't. In a world where they're trying to reduce the size of the rocks to save on server power, surely giving us the ability to just delete maps is going to only help them, and reduce that server load.
Or rebottle it and throw it in the sea.
Yeah.
Bury it.
Yeah, that'll be useful.
So the good news is much like I've been talking about ever since I had the interview with Mike Chapman, I've noticed a trend, and it tends to be one that works in 2 ways. One, it fits in with the story and the timing, and 2, it's a small step towards the larger goal. So I think something that I think they're working on, I think that they're testing, is we now have the technology to be able to generate maps and to have maps be a physical item in the world beyond just the bottle quests. Because once you grab a bottle, it is a physical item, but you don't actually hold it. You just kind of accept it, and then it gets pulled into your wheel. I have personally been working on getting rid of mine, either by going and actually doing them, or I'll go and I'll do them. And then what I'll do is I'll immediately dig them up and then rebury them so they get added to my personal voyages, my personal messages. And then I'll go and post those as a way to kind of create those maps and stuff. It'll get them off my wheel at the very least. But I also understand that going out and doing a whole bunch of messages in a bottle and then just reburying them seems like madness, I'm sure, to most. But I'm with you. I think it's just a matter of time where now that we have ways to physically craft maps, in a sense, that soon we'll be able to get rid of bottle missions, because I do know that that's something that they are aware of. I just don't know when they'll be able to get to it.
Maybe a few years down the road, give or take.
Oh, hopefully not a few. Hopefully like a few months down the road, please.
You never know.
Yeah, no, and we won't until it's out. It's similar. I got a comment on the YouTube video of Mike Chapman's interview about when the captaincy update is coming, and it always comes back to the same thing that I always hear from Rare, and it's it'll come when it makes sense for the content that they're looking to put into the game, and when they've worked out what they want that update to actually be. But it will most likely not actually be the thing that they said it was going to be back in 2017.
Am I the only one that hopes it isn't what they said it would be back in 2017? Because back in 2017, we didn't have anywhere near as much cool mechanics in the game as we do now. So I'm happy for them to, as much as we've all wanted it, I'm happy for them to reimagine it and make it even better.
I think the main thing a lot of folks want is to be able to name their ship and to be able to sail out of Athena's fortune. I think those were the two main highlights of what the captaincy update was talked about having. Granted, we already got pets, so pets is already in the game, so they should be at least half happy with that. But I think given those two, those are like the main things. Is anyone else here kind of like, do you care about being able to name your ships? Is captaincy something that's still an elusive update that you're waiting for?
I just think it's weird we have plaques above the door that have nothing on them when literally every other ship in the game that's a part of the game has a name on that same plaque. It should just, you can name pets pretty easy just with a menu option. You should be able to do it to your ship as well.
What if the ship spawned in with names? So every time you jumped into a galleon, it would generate a ship name.
If that's the case, I want to name my own ship.
Yeah, because I can see a lot of people just server hopping to get the ship name they want.
True.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point.
Plus, the other thing is that a lot of us in this chat are members of Chenzo's group as well, so we all have our own ship name for the app that he has.
The PvE.
No. That's Chenzo does the PvE. I admit I do a little bit, but I also do PvP.
It's okay,
he's
Pat.
the PvE lord. I'm the second PvE lord.
It's okay.
No, we all. I think we all have our own ship names.
Yeah.
For that app. And so it would be nice to have a way of getting that in the game.
Yeah.
It's not as big a thing for me now as it was previously to get it in the game, because I know I already have my ship name. It just isn't on the ship at the time.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I've always been, ever since I joined the forums. They had the question out there back before the game was launched, what would you name your ship? And I always said the Sitting Duck. So for me, every ship that I captain, that I spawn, has always been the Sitting Duck. And I may not get to put the Sitting Duck on as the actual name, but at least in my lore, in my canon, that's always been the case. And I would love to get that represented one day, but I also like the idea of them having a goal and driving towards that goal to see what they're coming up with, as opposed to the one thing that they said that they wanted to do back 4 years ago at this point. The last item that you guys wanted to touch on was rare merchandise. What did you guys want to jump into with the rare merchandise? Because we have been getting a lot of it lately.
This is me. I am a lorry driver. And you. Well, you're a driver as well. We are not small people. And the latest offering from Rare that I saw was the bundle, and it only went up to, I think it was 2XL. I haven't been a 2XL since I was 20. I struggle to find merch, not just with Rare, and it's not just Rare. for a few games. I have managed to get, I think, 2 T-shirts that fit me from Rare Merch. And looking through their store, they don't cater for anything other than XXL for most of their lines. Which I've even messaged them and said to them, look, I'm an older, larger gamer. I have a lot of disposable income that I can't spend in your store.
Yeah.
And got no response.
That's definitely something that I would love to have get pushed up to Adam and Pete. Because I
was just about to say, because I had the same issue with your merch line when you first set it up, and I actually messaged you and said, obviously, look, I need the larger sizes, and within 30 minutes, you'd already organised it and done it.
Yeah.
So I know that the facilities are there because I buy clothes that do fit me. It's just very strange that the gaming companies don't have a stock available unless you go at them and to try and remind them that there are bigger people out there that play games.
Yeah, and you're not alone. You're not the only person that wants something larger than a 2X. So
no, I was talking to Crow.
Yeah,
he has exactly the same problem.
Yeah, which is a shame too, because Crow, all the Destiny stuff, he buys a ton of merchandise. And he's more than happy to spend the money out there. So, yeah, I think for a company that excels so well at trying to be as inclusive as possible, the merch aspect of the stuff that they offer doesn't cater to everyone as easily as it should. Because, like you said, the Spring is the company that I go through for all the Keelhauled merchandise that I make. They make it super easy for me to be able to go in and adjust just about anything. If I remember to get to it. So I don't know who Rare's working with for their manufacturing. I know it's not like they're doing it themselves. So I think it would be easy enough for them to reach out to that, send an email, say, hey, just tack on 2 or 3 more options for all of the wearable merchandise and give players an opportunity to celebrate their fandom. It's a key point of being a gamer. It's something that really speaks to gamers. You talk to Henry Cavill, he's building PCs on his spare time and painting Warhammer figures. We love to celebrate this fandom. But if you can't purchase that merchandise, it's kind of like you don't get to be included in the fun, which completely goes against the whole point of playing these games, is to have fun with others and celebrate that.
The thing is, I'm not asking them to have it in stock. I'm just asking for it to be available. So I don't mind waiting 2-3 weeks, whatever, for stuff to become available. Just have it so that I can order it.
I think it's
because not having the option at all it can't be business sense really doing that.
No, it's leaving money on the table. Even and that's the thing is price accordingly. Obviously, it shouldn't cost that much more to craft bigger shirts.
Tense. Yes, that's fine.
No, I wear weird sizes, so I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall. I have small feet and small hands and a small head.
Fall over a lot.
I do. It sucks so much. I don't know why, but it's something. I would love to end on this. I would love to end on a call to action for Rare to at least allow us to be able to purchase the merchandise in the size that's appropriate for us. And if you want to be inclusive in the game, that's great, but extend it to the rest of your product lines as well.
Can I just say, I also, like, I know you should try to finish on that there, but I also have the same issue. I'm 6'4".
Holy,
much larger than I was when I was younger in the waist department. But I've always struggled with t-shirts anyway, because even some of the XL and as a kid, the XL, the 2XLs, they weren't long enough, so they would be right up around my stomach anyway, and I'd want the bigger size just to get that extra length, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So I bought, shout out to Dutch, because I bought one of his t-shirts a while back, and he promised me that this company that making them were an American company, and they'd already said that the 2XL is more than big enough, and I got it, and then nope, it's not.
Oh man.
So now it's just a decorative t-shirt on my door, because it looks good, but I can't wear it. So yeah, unless I like I should go on a decent diet and lose some weight, and it would still be a bit short on me, but at least it would fit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a reoccurring thing, not just with Sea of Thieves, like Pad said. It's a reoccurring theme with a lot of merch stores and just clothing stores in general. Really, it's not nice when you're trying to buy them and you're worried about it. So
yeah, it doesn't feel malicious, but it does feel like an attack. Like it does feel like you're not part of the group if you aren't these sizes, even if they're not in stock. And it's something that I kind of like this idea of really kind of having these call to actions at the end of the episode, because this is hopefully when everyone is actually still listening to this. But I promise that I am going to I'm going to reach out to Mike and see if he can get the word to Pete and Adam, because I know Pete and Adam are very reclusive, and they have every right to be, because their job does not have to say, going out and putting themselves out there. Their job is to make merchandise and have that for Sea of Thieves. But for one of these things, I would love to be able to at least talk to someone who has a better way to reach them to be able to get this kind of information. Mina, you said that the women's stuff needs to have extra sizes as well.
Yeah, I'm not a skinny stick either, so having a few extra sizes bigger. Their biggest size I can just about manage, but I'd be personally more comfortable in something that was maybe slightly bigger.
Good to know. See, so I'm going to let you guys know, I will message Mike and see if I can have him at least pass on the information to be able to reach out to Pete and Adam about that, because I would love for you guys to be able to get what you want, especially if it's just a matter of just, talking to the company and seeing if that's a possibility, getting some more information about this and see if, one, if it's possible, and two, how long before it gets implemented. I think would be great for that. And if pirates, if you guys are out there and you're listening to this and you feel the same way, you woke up, for holidays and you went and unwrapped a bunch of presents, and a lot of them were, Sea of Thieves merch that didn't fit or just didn't show up because they didn't have those sizes available to you. I think this would be a great opportunity to really kind of reach out to the studio and say, like, hey, we love your merch. We just would love to buy it in a size that feels comfortable, instead of, having to put it up on a wall, because it sucks. It really does.
I have one other thing that I've already spoken to Mike about. With my daughter. Came up with the idea last year about, because she's absolutely obsessed with teddies and plush toys and stuff.
Yeah,
and she has wanted some, having done lots of fishing with me, and almost now being able to catch her own in the game, which I'm very excited to do. But she remembered that we'd spoke about these plush toys that were an idea we'd had, and passed it on to Mike. And I asked him again the other day, and it reminded him he's going to ask again. So I'm pushing for the plush toys for Sea of Thieves. We want a Ruby Splashtail plush.
Well, I know we had the Gold Hoarder and Flameheart Jr. Didn't we have another one too a while back where there were like little
the ferryman.
ones. The ferryman. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, those were great. Like, let's get some more of those in the works. I would love to see those. I don't know. Yeah, across the board, statues, more plushies, better sizes, size availability for the outfits, stuff like that. We'd love to have more merch that reaches out across the and I would love to have you guys take another look at the printing, whoever does the printing for some of the shirts, because I don't know what it is about the texture that's on some of the shirts. It's not a very high quality compared to others that I've had.
And can we have the orb?
The orb.
Oh no, please no.
They put it in the
went mad
game
because of it.
Merch rich environment.
Get it made.
Oh man, I have opinions about that I'm going to talk about. All right.
I nearly went mad because of it.
I worship the orb now.
No.
Continue.
No. All right.
No, please no.
Well, we're getting close to time here. I do want to thank you guys so much for jumping in. You brought a lot to the table, and it was really good to get a chance to kind of sit down and see how everyone else is using the tools that came with season 5. And also really just to address a lot of really good options for the next time they do one of these updates, hopefully sooner rather than later. But as we kind of go down the list, Hefe, thank you for joining. Any parting wisdom you'd like to share with anyone?
Nope. Just by the time this comes out, I hope everybody has had a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and looking forward to next year.
Me too, definitely. And you beat me to it. But Mina Fairy, as we head out, any fun phrases or things you want to share with anyone?
Nope. I just hope everybody stays safe and has a good time over the holidays.
Definitely. Regis, anything you want to share with anyone before we close up?
Not much, except for just live long, plunder, and stay true to yourself and all that, and stay safe.
Definitely. Big Bad Pad.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing all these notes to the episode that we can share and talk about them. Anything you want to say to anyone as we head out? Nope.
I don't really know.
He left.
Nope. I think he had to go AFK real quick.
No, I'm here. I'm back. I muted myself
There you
because I'm
are.
clever. Just wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and happy festive season. And hope to see a lot of you on the seas.
Definitely.
I sounded like Joe Neat then, didn't I?
A little bit. That's okay.
A little bit.
We haven't heard from him in a while. And last but not least, Xbox Mike 29. Thank you for joining us this episode. Anything you'd like to share or say to anyone out there?
Yep. No, I hope you all have a great Christmas, and I hope to see you all soon on the seas.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I hope that as the recording, we haven't had it, but I hope you all have an awesome holiday break, an awesome Christmas if you celebrate, or whatever you celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate, because not everyone celebrates, maybe you just have a really good day off and get to go see The Matrix or something fun. So have fun out there. Thank you all, and I will talk to you all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey Pirates, just a reminder, if you guys want to get a hold of me or anyone in the Discord, you can always go to the show notes. There's links there to follow to get in contact with myself. If you want to send me a story or a message, you can always do so through the email at captlogun@gmail.com. You can always reach me on Twitter at capt_logun. You can always join the Discord and talk to other people about what they got this holiday, what they're planning to do to group up so they can work on the Grog Manet stuff. And maybe, if you can, reach out, head over to Spotify, and they put up ratings for the shows now. So if you head over to Spotify, search Keelhauled Podcast, you can follow and rate it 5 stars to help out if you guys want. Definitely appreciate that. It helps with the discoverability for Sea of Thieves. I've been seeing a lot of my other friends do the same, and it seems to be working out really well. Really happy to see Spotify really embracing rating and promoting podcasts as much as they are. It seems like a lot of the listeners that are listening to the podcast are actually coming from Spotify. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Love you all. Thank you again so much, and I'll talk to you on the other side of this weekend.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Hey Simone,
Yes, Chad.
what would you say is your favorite bad movie?
Oh, where would I start? But probably at zombie strippers.
Oh yeah, which we've actually done on our podcast, Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. This is a podcast where we take some of the worst movies ever created, and even some of those movies that you might have thought were brilliant, but still got a bad critic score, and we say nice things about them, because you know what? Someone put the effort in, so we're gonna be there fighting in their corner.
Absolutely, Chad. Even if the movie was total garbage, there are some makeup artists that gave it their all, and we're here to recognize that.
Exactly. And with really fun themes every week, such as National Treasure Week, Weddings Week, movies with Jeremy Irons and dragons in them. How could you go wrong by joining us every Tuesday and Thursday for some optimism in your life?
And like we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye!
My name is Brian Burton. It's been 26 years since the bombs fell. And since I've left the vault, I've been trying to rebuild. This isn't the Appalachia that I remember. There's so much more to everything going on. And I promise to find the answer. So if you're out there, if you're listening, just hone in on these coordinates. Remember, there's a place for you at the end. Omega.
The Omega Broadcast Fallout Story is available on iTunes, Spotify, and many great podcasting sources.